All right, man, peace. So this is going to be an addition to the Paternity Test Should Be Mandatory series. And this is an extremely eerie edition. You brothers, please pay attention to the communication between the plaintiff here and the defendant, and the extent to which the defendant goes to try to elevate herself and to exalt herself as the quote-unquote single mother, virgin. When I say virgin, I mean pure archetype. So let's see how this transpires. Of course, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Plaintiff Carlos Coriano and his girlfriend Sherry say in 2001 Carlos had sex with the defendant a few times. And then she claimed she was pregnant with his baby. Carlos says when the child was 5, he asked for a DNA test, but the defendant refused.
Well, that was your first mistake, bro. You should have gotten a DNA test when the baby was first born. I cannot stress this enough to all you brothers out there. When a child is born, you get the paternity test right away.
And then disappeared. Carlos has not seen the child in 10 years, so he petitioned the court today for a DNA test. Defendant Janelle Arellano insists today is the first time Carlos has ever asked for a paternity test. And the only reason he wants one is because he was served with child support papers.
Well, that would be a reason to get a child support test if you're going to comply with any type of contract that's going to stipulate that you have to pay tribute to someone because a child is allegedly yours. That is when you should get verification, even though he should have gotten verification from the time that the baby was born. Better late than never.
Janelle says she knows Carlos is her child's father, and she's eager to prove that to him today.
Well, she claims to know that he's the dad, but please understand that many times when a lie is perpetuated for a certain amount of time, the issuer of the lie actually starts to believe the lie. As I tell you brothers incessantly, the modern day liberal woman creates her own quote unquote reality based off of what she'd like to be true. It doesn't matter what the actuality is. It only matters to her what her reality is. That's why they use terms like my truth and my reality. This is what happens when you succumb to the whims of the modern day liberal female. They create their own reality and they want to force you to live in it with them. Almost like a computer program.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
All right. And sir, you have petitioned the court for a DNA test. Yeah. Obviously, have a question about the paternity of a child. So why don't you give us some background on your relationship?
I will give you a background by myself.
Okay.
You know, I was in the penitentiary. I was out there bad. You know, I got my life together. And, you know, I met Janelle in 2001. You know, she wasn't my lady or nothing. We fooling around and stuff like that.
Had you gotten your life turned around by then?
Yeah, my life been turned around.
Good.
And, you know, I tried to do it. And then one day she called me and tells me, oh, I got to come over there. And then when I saw her, she was, you know, pregnant. She was like, this is your baby. I was like, oh, okay, you know. I did my thing, you know. I took care of her. I even went to the hospital, signed a birth certificate and everything.
Big mistake, dude. You never, ever, ever sign that bond until you verify that the child is yours. Brothers, I tell you this all the time. You make sure that you get that paternity test. Even if you decide to sign the quote-unquote birth certificate, which is just the bond number for the child, you make sure that you know that the baby is yours. Many of these females are sleeping with multiple men, and they decide that they're going to play duck, duck, goose and pick whichever one they would like to be the dad. That is how their world operates.
And everything. And then and then after that, I didn't see her after that. And then she bumped into one of my family members.
Why didn't you see her if you...
I don't know where she was at.
Actually, you're the one who disappeared.
No, you know what I was at. You know, you bump into my family. You know, I bumped into you in the car one time. And you telling me woo, woo, woo and stuff like that.
When did you break up?
We never was together.
Okay.
We never was together.
Yeah, she's just a slide off. You know, my man slid out of prison. He slid up in her.
Never was.
How many times did you all...
We used to see each other and do some do some fling things.
Okay.
Quick as hell. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we know. Woo woo woo. You know, my man probably from New York City. He talk like he from he from the 5 boroughs. You know, woo woo woo, and you know, getting his thing done.
Okay.
I'm keeping it real. That's
About how many times? 5, 10?
Like 2, 3 times. That's it. Because you know I had other broads too. You know, I
Right.
just got out to join. I'm not trying.
Listen to the audience. Ooh, big fucking deal. The man had multiple women. They were all concubines. They all had multiple men. So it is what it is. But once again, when you decide that you're going to engage in dealing with multiple women, every woman is a headache. As we can see here, the headache has metastasized into a massive migraine. So when you decide that you're going to engage in a rapport, a relationship with any woman, whether it be 1 or 5, that's a headache for you. So understand what you're dealing with. All right. The odds are that the more women that you're dealing with, the more demonism that you're dealing with, because the average modern day female is liberal, and the liberal woman is a demon. That's all they are. They're demons in the flesh. And a demon does what? A demon perpetuates lies, which there's nothing wrong with that to a demon, to push a lie. The sole purpose of a demon is to bring as much confusion as they can into whoever's life chooses to interact with them.
Not trying to be with nobody, you know. And then we got into a little argument. And then I asked her, I wanted DNA. After that, I didn't
How
see her.
long after the child had been born did this
She
happen?
was 5 years old. You know, don't get me wrong. She used to let me see the baby and
Okay.
stuff like that. I give her that. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking she's mine. You know.
And
Doing
then
nothing with
did
her.
that ever stop?
Yeah, it stopped when she was 5 years old.
Why?
Because when I asked her for a DNA.
It's because he
Because-
forgot to pick her up from school and we
No, I
never
didn't.
seen
I
her
had her
from
in my
there.
crib. I had her in
Never
my
seen
crib.
him
You
from
came
there.
to my crib and
Never
asked,
seen him
and she
after
was
that.
there. She was in my crib. You better stop lying.
So
She was
what
in my
made you
crib.
after 5 years want to test though?
Because I just had a feeling, you know.
Okay.
That's what it was. I just had a feeling, and I told her I wanted DNA.
And what'd she say?
It took you 5 years to get a feeling, brother? Come on, man. Once again, get the DNA test as soon as the baby is born. If the woman is offended, let her be offended. But like I tell cats, when you start dealing with these bros, I don't care how seriously you take them, whether you take them as a wife or as a concubine, you have to lay it out before they even get pregnant that, look, if anything happens with us, we're going to get a DNA test. And she should have no problem with that unless she's a hoe. The only females that have problems with a stipulation that they get a DNA test performed are women who are out there doing their thing. It's like I always say, the people who come up to you and ask you if you trust them are the people who are not trustworthy. A person who is trustworthy is never going to ask you, do you trust me? Or why don't you trust me? They're going to understand that trust is something that is built up over time, like credit.
She said, I'll give you one, don't worry about it. And from there, she disappeared. I didn't see her.
How long ago was that?
Right now, it's about 10 years now.
Ma'am, give me your side.
First and foremost, I was young and dumb, and you know the rest, but
Now you're old and dumb.
I know who I was young and dumb with.
Allegedly.
I know he's the dad. When I first met him,
Look at this bro. This bro got a big ass piercing in her tongue. Any bitch you come across that has a tongue piercing is not wife material. The reason why they got that tongue piercing in their tongue is not just to aid them in performing fellatio, but also it helps them spit out lies even better. That's what they got the piercing in their tongue for. It helps them split their tongue right down the middle, because whenever they speak, it's like a serpent speaking, like a damn snake. Everything coming out their mouth is coming from a forked tongue. That's why they got that damn piercing in their tongue. Broads like this, none but a concubine. Anytime you see a broad with a tongue piercing, that is nothing but a concubine.
I was about 21 years old. I had started working at a bar. I met him at the bar that I was working with. Basically, we went back to my house. He was drunk and he was coming in, taking everything out of his pockets, putting everything on the table. Well, I came across his ID. He first told me he was about 9 to 10 years older than me, which he looked the age, so it didn't really bother me. But when he was coming to my house, pulling out all his things drunk,
Yeah, including pulling out his dick.
I came across his ID, and I told him, ew, dude, you're like my dad's age.
Who gives a shit? You know, a lot of these females, and this is why, brothers, in a real society, the woman is not really able to decide who she's going to be with in a relationship. Because the criteria that most of these females create is not only poor criteria, but it is actually criteria that allows them to destroy the relationship when the time comes. They purposefully sabotage their own chances at successful relationships because the parameters that they use to try to discern what type of man they want to deal with is normally based in foolishness. If the man was good looking enough for you to want to lay down with him, why are you concerned with his age for? That obviously was not a factor when you looked at his face. It's really only in Western culture where there's this belief that the age difference between a man and a woman is supposed to be so close. Now, whenever you're talking about male-female relationships, the man is supposed to have a certain level of wisdom. Now, unfortunately, in this society, wisdom is not at a premium because everything is based in telima, which is doing whatever you feel like doing. A lot of cats, to be quite honest with you, don't have much to teach their sons. So a lot of these young men are getting into relationships with young females with blinders on. They don't truly understand the machinations of the woman and what she has planned for him. That is why they prefer younger men, because they can pull their tricks on a younger man. They try to act like it's because, he's a pedophile. Look, as long as the woman is 18 or above, it doesn't matter how old the man is that she's with. All right? That's all it's about. And people want to intrude into the affairs of other relationships, oftentimes to try to dictate to the woman that she should not be with a man who's 45 or 50 or however old the man is. Who cares? All right? As long as they're vibing, nobody should be bothered by it. Now, she is so silly. She actually was attracted to the man, but decided that she was going to be turned off by his actual age, but she wasn't turned off enough to try to allege that he's the father of her child.
But by then it was already too late. I was already pregnant. So.
And what happened from there?
So basically,
you came to him and said, "I'm pregnant with your child."
And he was there. And we weren't really dating, so he would come around during the pregnancy here and there. But
yeah, I was never dating. You was a slide off. He met you at the bar. Like, come on.
But it was.
Were you seeing anyone else?
No.
You had not been seeing anyone else during that same time?
No.
Allegedly. Brothers, once again, that's why at marriage, the female that you married had to be a virgin. Because a woman's either a virgin, in the ancient world, she was either considered a virgin or a whore. That's why I say we live in a whore's society today. Now, they have pushed the standard of propriety and chastity to the fullest extent on the opposite end of the spectrum to exalt being whores. That's why I did the video on Oprah when I stated, or when I was able to prove and verify that Oprah is an avatar of the whore of Babylon. And once again, brothers, this is why I like to harp on and accentuate the understanding that that you have to grasp and comprehend the spiritual ramifications of them promoting the mother goddess. The mother goddess has a lot of dimensions, right? Whether it be as the virgin, as the mother, as the whore. All these things affect the mindset of the female today because the female is a receptacle. She's a receiver by nature, so she's very, very easy to program.
No.
So it was no way the child could be someone else's?
No.
Okay.
And he was there for a little while. Mm-hmm. He would pick her up from school, which was a great help to me. Mm-hmm. He would walk her over to my mom's house. One day I was at work and it was about 6:15 and her school called stating that she hadn't been picked up. And so when I went to go pick her up, that was basically the last time we seen him. We didn't really have any contact. I would call him to come see her, but he never made an effort.
Why do you think it stopped so suddenly?
I don't know.
Okay, and tell me when he asked about the DNA test. Was it around that same time?
DNA because at the hospital they were willing to give him a DNA, and him and his sister.
So this is the first time he's asked for one?
Yes. If he would have came to, I would have gave him one, no doubt.
Okay, what do you think provoked it?
Maybe the child support papers that he got in the mail.
When?
Just this year, like the beginning, April,
This
March
is the
of
first
this
time
year.
he's been
Yeah.
all
But
right.
I mean, he wasted his time and his patience because I wasn't going to send anything in because he was scot-free.
No, you wasn't going to set anything in because you knew that it would necessitate what we have here, which is a court case where you would have to prove that he's the father of the child, so that he would have a contractual obligation to fulfill the child support payments. So that's truly what it's about. The only reason why you did not try to push for him to pay for the child is because deep down you have a suspicion that the child is not his. That's why.
I don't understand what you mean. You weren't going to send anything.
I wasn't going to sign any papers. I wasn't going to.
Saying what?
About to the child support. They wanted to know. They wanted information, but I ignored every letter that.
Why?
they
You didn't
sent.
want the child support?
Why? I've always taken care of her.
Bullshit. You didn't want the child support because you did not want it to be brought to the forefront that the child was most likely not his. Now you have to explain to your daughter that the man that you have been alleging is her father is not. So you're hiding something, ma'am.
He's always been well taken care of. I didn't bust my
Hold on,
butt
sir.
18
Okay.
and a half hours.
How much is her college fund? How much you have in there?
About 25,000.
You know, college by the time she's 18 is going to cost about 50 a year. Think you'll have that?
Well, that's the reason why people who are intelligent should be trying to figure out what they want to do for their business while they're young. And I mean 13, 14, 15 years old, so that you don't get caught into the college debt slave scheme. There's nothing wrong with going to college as long as it's affordable. But college is basically a Ponzi scheme. There is no guarantee that you're going to get a job after you have become indebted $150,000. That's ridiculous. All that is, for the most part, is a gigantic money pit, unless you're fortunate enough to be intelligent enough to be able to pursue a degree that will guarantee you a job after college. That is why a lot of brothers should be trying to broaden their horizons in regards to what they plan on doing with their life, whether it be that you go to a technical school or learn a craft, whether it be a plumber, a carpenter, or what have you. There are many jobs out here and fields that are skill-based, that if you become proficient in them, you can make a whole lot of money and don't have to put yourself in heavy debt, paying $50,000 a year for the right to go get drunk with a bunch of other idiots every Friday and Saturday night, and going to orgies and smoking a whole bunch of weed and learning a bunch of bullshit philosophies. If you can go there and make it work, great. But you should broaden your scope.
You'll have that put away?
Not off bat, but I'll
Pardon?
at least not off.
Okay, that's why you do need his child support for your child. I know whatever you think about what you need or what your child needs right now is not enough for her to succeed in this society. In this society, you need advanced training beyond high school.
Oh, absolutely.
And it costs money. And we don't want you to saddle that child with loans when you got enough money right now that you can put away because she's well taken care of. So much so she don't.
She's bullshitting, Judge. She's hiding something. She's bullshitting. Believe me, there's no woman that damn magnanimous. Just to look at her, she's not living high off the hog. So she's hiding something. She does not want to have to stipulate that he get the DNA test. That is why it was not a big deal for her to try to enforce child support payments. Because she knows that once the cat is out of the bag, she's going to lose a lot of esteem with her children, particularly the daughter that she alleges is from this man, the plaintiff.
She don't need her father's money. She don't need her father's money. She got $25,000 for college. You need your child support. Please fill those papers out. I'm telling you, your child gonna look at you like a fool. I'm sick of him. I'm mad at him. He should've. Well, I ain't want no money from him. I turned it down. You did what? You turned my money down? That was my money. That wasn't you. Turn your own money down. Don't turn my money down.
Hey, brothers. Now you see the little spiel that the judge went through. This is why, once again, I always harp on this. Please be very, utilize a high level of scruple when you decide who you're going to procreate with, who you're going to inseminate. Because by the time you get into this courtroom right here, No one is trying to hear that you didn't know, that you wasn't sure, that she used to be nice. They're going to rake you over the coals, and they're going to charge you. They're going to tax you. When they have you pay child support, all that is tribute to the woman as the quote unquote mother goddess. Her job is to hold the bond and make sure that it grows to maturity. That's why they put the onus on the man to make sure that he has to pay quote unquote child support, because they have to make sure that that child can maximize its earning potential so that it can be taxed. So you see how the judge is trying to push her to make him have to pay child support. Because even a judge like Greg Mathis, he gets a cut from all these court cases. All right, they're all taxable transactions.
You don't want child support, but you do think this is the reason that he is requesting a DNA test, because he was recently served. And you suddenly had religion. Why again?
I was paying child support before this came up. It
No,
was
we're
like
talking
150.
about why you suddenly wanted
But she
to
waited
know.
10 years.
Pardon me?
She waited 10 years to take me to child support. I had plenty of other jobs.
So it
And
does have something to do with child
It got
support.
to do with this, you know?
Okay,
I
so
don't got-
before you were asked to pay,
Let me say this before the judge continues. He's upset that he was served official documents precipitating that he provide her with child support for their alleged child. He states that he was making payments already. What does that mean? Straight out of pocket. So now he can't even quantify how much money he has given to her over the years. That's why once again, brothers, number one, it's best that you get the paternity test so that you can understand if that tax, what they call child support, is actually something that can be properly applied to you. But number two, if you do have to make child support payments, even if it's not something that's official between you, the female, and the court, if it's something that you're just giving out from your pocket, you still want to do it in a way that you can prove how much you paid, whether it's in money order or check. You never want to pay cash as a goodwill offering in a situation like this. Never, because it's viewed as a gift. Even if he wants to come back and say that I gave her such and such amount of money over the years, if the child is found not to be his, he can't even prove it. He can't even prove it. So in the event that you have a child with a woman and you do not have any type of paternity test to prove that the child is yours, and you're just paying from pocket, from pocket to the person, make sure that it is in a form of payment that can be quantified, that can be proven. Don't just give cash.
yeah, that's my baby. I ain't got to pay no money. That's my baby, yeah. But one time you get done, boom, you got to pay. But that ain't my baby. You haven't told me why you don't think she's yours. All I'm hearing now is that she says you want to know now to get out of paying child support. And you say you weren't sleeping with anyone else during that time frame. So it's...
Allegedly.
Well, it's either his or your mother Mary. Let me have the results. Or your mother Mary number 2. There was only one mother Mary, because I'm sure your child is fine, but if she's no Jesus. So we're gonna see. You have any other children?
Yes.
How many?
I have an 18-year-old and I have a 3-year-old.
Okay. How about you?
Well, she said that she has an 18-year-old and a 3-year-old, but the child in question is 15. She tried to act like she was a virgin before she met him. I wonder how she got the 18-year-old. I guess she was walking down the street and slipped and fell on a dick on the ground and got inseminated.
I got a 21, a boy. That's
21?
Yeah.
That he's never seen.
Your 18-year-old out of high school? Your 18-year-old's out of high school?
Yes.
Okay, what college?
She's going to Florida.
Huh?
She left to Florida to go to
No, I
college.
say what college? In Florida.
Florida State.
Wow. You all paying that tuition?
Yes, sir.
How much it costs a year?
A nice grip.
How much? I know what it costs. I want to see if you know.
What she's going to school for is
Pardon me?
what she's going to school for, it's only $48 a year.
48,000? Room and board?
No. She lives with my aunt out there in Florida.
So 48 without room and board?
Yes.
That's not true. It's not true.
Well, don't worry about it. I'm sure she's used to lying. She don't give a damn. she's too busy trying to glorify herself as the prime provider and also trying to hide her bullshit.
That is not true.
Well, she got
That
a
is
partial
not
college.
true. You don't know what you're talking about
As usual.
because you're lying. And by the way, while you're telling that lie, you're lying on this man too.
Tell her she's a you want all your money back.
So you got a lot of explaining to do.
All right, you gotta explain that to your daughter.
Not on-
Exactly. And that's the reason why she did not want to enforce the child support payments in the first place. Because she knew that it would reveal her lies.
Not only college money, now you gotta find out who the dad is.
Now, curse her out. Lying on some
I have nothing to say. I mean, the truth is out, and hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Doesn't matter whose life you affected, right? It is what it is. He was running around ranting and raving about how he was too old for you, when he threw his ID on your table and all this other bullshit. Brothers, please make sure that you know who who you're inseminating, who you're laying down with, even if it's just a concubine. Understand who sees your parting when you put your staff in between. Because a lot of these females, they have more secrets than the CIA. But anyway, peace.